So when we look at some stunning piece of art, we tend to think, what the journey of that art? How did it come here? What drives the value of the art and what does an artist actually have to do to actually reach that point? The walls of this art gallery has adorned interesting pieces of art from artists with the likes of Hussein ji, Raza ji, Padma ji, and many more. And today we have a really interesting guest with us, Miss Sanjana Shah, who is the owner and creative director of the Tao Art Gallery here in Mumbai. What creates art unique is not just the art itself or the craft of it, but how it is communicated out into the world. And in this conversation, we're going to explore more of that process. Stay tuned. So we've got Sanjana Shah from the Tao Art Gallery. She's the owner and creative director of this entity. And it was pretty interesting to see, how these artworks, what's there behind us also have been curated here. And we just got to know that, there's this whole different field of curation besides the creation of the art. And actually, sometimes often than not, the curation part might make the art seem more, into the space than sometimes even the art itself. Because, the art might be the most perfect piece, but then it won't reach anywhere on its own. So to make it reach out to the people could be the art, could be the responsibility of a curator and maybe even more. So we would get to know about that from Sanjana ji herself. So thank you, Sanjana ji, for having this conversation. So can you tell us a bit more of the whole, process of curation and what it exactly is?
So I think as a curator, your job is to be like a conduit. You're a translator. You're someone who understands the artist, communicates with the artist, sees their practice very intrinsically at the studio through their sort of evolution. And your job is to take that essence and without diluting it, communicate it to the larger audience, right? Okay. The vision that the artist has, a lot of artists, as Kisli said, they are able to talk about it. A lot of them are not able to talk about it. And I think that that's where the curator comes in and is able to take that and really do justice to it. Okay. Be it the way you present it, it's a lot like a job of a film director, right? You have to remove the best from your artist or your, actor. So for me, my artists are very important because what they want to say is what I have to properly sort of bring out. Okay. And that's done with obviously the way you see it. The walls are done in a certain manner. Each corner is curated in a certain way so that that justice is really brought out.
Right. So you're also looking at the psychology of how the communication happens, what impact it has on the audience.
Yeah.
And, how it's communicating the whole theme and essence of the art itself.
Yeah, because I think each artist has a different essence and theme, right? It's abstract, it's figurative, it's happy, it's more reflective. So I think that is my job to make sure that that is really shown without... The mood is created, got it. Yeah.
So we were exploring ki ek artist ki journey mein, what are the important milestones or the journeys which they have to take. And I just got to realize that, okay, it's so much more than just creation of the art.
Yeah.
Now, when we look, when the young people are looking at this podcast, I want to give them a perspective of, how this journey goes and what goes into the mind of the curator when they're also selecting artists.
I think it's a very personal thing because you need to resonate with your artist. If I feel like when I'm looking at this artist's work, I am getting excited about it. I feel it's touching me. It's making me feel emotions, it's making me have reflections. That is the first step towards picking an artist. Don't look at how saleable it is. Don't look at how trendy it is. Look at how much it's true to you. And I think then the next steps are obviously understanding, being involved, and then taking that and being like, okay, this is an artist I love, and this is why I love him, and this is what I want to show the world,
Okay, interesting. Yeah. And, when we look at this from this perspective, okay, that art piece has been created.
Yeah.
Somewhere we can say, okay, artist ka job udhar over ho gaya hai.
Over ho gaya.
They have communicated it to the curator.
Yeah.
The curator uses their psychology, understands the artist, gets the crux of it, and uses his or her intuitions to communicate it well in throughout the audience.
Yeah.
But when we think of the success of a curator or success of an art gallery, is it measured through sales or is it measured through feedbacks? How is it measured?
It's measured through both. You have to have works that are, you have to have shows in a year that do well from a sales angle, but you have to also have shows that critics really like. You know, that art people, art writers are like, okay, this stuff is powerful. Because not all art is something like this work, I mean, here, the line work. That's not something someone can easily buy and put in their living room because it's a very experimental piece. I think the main thing is that if you can create that balance between, okay, you know, some artworks of this artist are very appealing to the Indian audience, are very appealing and can be put in any living room without any worry. But at the same time, they're pushing the boundaries and doing installation pieces that are more experimental in nature. That is the perfect balance that a curator has to strike. So you're intellectually also, you know, being relevant, but you're also being relevant to the tastes of your audience.
Okay, so you're looking at the placement and the utilization of art from the other perspective, audience's perspective,
Yeah.
and seeing how this becomes relevant to different parties and stakeholders.
Different audiences and what they appreciate, basically.
Okay,
Yeah.
so maybe your own experience also would the more, is it like the more experienced the curator, the more fast selling or the more successful their events or galleries are?
I don't think it's that. I think it depends. As I said, there can be a curator that has one or two artists that they know are very well appreciated and like popular on social media and sell really well. And there are a few artists that they believe a lot in, but they need to still get the audience to have that taste and that palate for the art.
Okay.
So that the curator has to also be a teacher, because you are saying that, okay, there are some artists that are very funky and cool and everyone wants their stuff. But there are some artists that have a deeper thing to share, which I want to educate my audiences so that they can learn and sort of appreciate that art better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, we discussed this in the one of the podcast was ki, there was this duct tape banana. Yeah.
I know, I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that.
So, we explored the dynamics behind that from Kisley. And we would love to know, what's the reality behind art gaining its own value? How does it get that value? And what's the role of curators in the same?
See, with contemporary art, it's a very complicated process because it's not about technique, it's about the mind of the artist. So when the artist does something crazy like that, there is a backstory to it. Take Banksy or someone, right? There is a backstory to why he's doing outlandish stuff. It's not technique driven. No one wants to see how well is his form, how well is his... It's more about concept art. The story behind it. That's why this banana and all these crazy things are happening, because that's what, people are like finding it almost like what is this? Like, why would you do this? I'm curious. I want to know more.
Okay. So when a young budding artist, looks at art, what's your suggestion? Should they, focus, 100% on the skill and then, just think, okay, this might sell, from that selling point of view, validation point of view? Or should they think of the story behind it? And would they want to, should they actually create a story, or do they just communicate what they're feeling? So, like, what do you suggest?
Talking about artists.
Yes.
Artists should just be authentic to what they feel.
Right.
That's my thing. Like, you want to be like, okay, there's this one artist that went through depression, and her art piece in like a museum abroad was her bedroom over 6 months.
Okay.
She literally brought stuff and put it. It was dirty, it was messy. But she's like, this is it's like almost like a performance art. It's like, I went through a horrible period. I don't have anything more to say. I just want to show you the state of my life, which will give you an idea of the state of my mind. That is her piece of art. That's because that's true to her. Then there are artists that, so as I said, it's very hard to just be like, art is aesthetic. It's not always aesthetic. It's more about expression. And that expression is not always clean. It's not always sanitized. It is complicated.
Wow, you put it so crisply and so wonderfully, because now I see that's where the role of the curator comes into place, where, the artist gives that expression.
Yeah.
And the curator realizes his potential and places it in the right place.
And the curator cannot be like, nahi, ye mat karo, like this is not going to work. You have to allow your artist to be authentic.
But then, a lot of artists might be doing their authentic work. So, like, for example, Rajasthani, I was visiting Rajasthan and I saw so much of authentic and traditional, intricate art pieces.
Like tribal art.
Yeah. And sometimes, people don't even know how to categorize it, but that art is there. But it's not gaining that kind of precedence or that kind of fame or say celebrity and all. So what do you think of
I think, unfortunately, because we're in the era of contemporary art, these kinds of arts that are like traditions are thought more of artisanal. Artisanal means craft, skill, technique, and right now people don't really want that. They want, as I said, okay, if you see the modern masters before contemporary, Hussain ji, Raza ji, all these like famous modern masters that my mom had worked with in the beginning of the gallery. They used to do more figurative art. They had their own narrative that inspired it, that was more about little, like how good can you paint with oil and acrylic paint on canvas, right? How good are your forms, your figures? What is the sort of inspiration behind it? That was more European in the sense of like having portraiture and all of that. So that was skill. Now people are doing more abstract art because contemporary art is abstract. So anyone that's doing, I guess, more skilled work they're an artisan. And that respect that artisans, unfortunately, I feel lack. That's just because of that psyche that, it's like, banate hai and they sell it and it's a skill for sale.
So
Not a concept that they're just sort of, exploring, which is what a true artist does. That's the bias.
Okay, so I guess someone might look at that and say, this looks good, this seems good, but what's that? What a thought which is cultivating in my mind because of
they are just generationally continuing what their forefathers were doing. Now they are doing. They give that to their grandchildren. That skill will keep continuing because it's ऐसे ये pattern बनाना है, ये करना है. Where is the individuality? And I think that individuality is there in the contemporary arts. I'm not saying at all that that's not art. That is very much art. And I think textile has made a comeback. Textile art is very popular now. Karigars are now making abstract figures in textile. But the karigars are doing skill. The brain behind it is the artist who's telling them कि ऐसे अजीब forms बनाओ. And, I want this in my textile and crazy textile. So textile is making a comeback. So skill is being valued, but they aren't called artists. They are called the executors of the artist's vision.
Interesting perspective where, the thought behind the whole process is what's being valued more.
Yeah.
So,
basically.
when someone wants to grow in this art field, now as I'm talking to a curator, I want to know, though it's personal, are there any barriers which one has to cross, or are there any, gatekeepers in the whole industry where, the artist has to pave a way beyond art, beyond the product itself?
I mean, honestly, unfortunately, I think the art industry is very, it does hold sacred a lot of the entry points, and I think the selection of artists are done very strategically, and the promotion of those artists then make them bigger and bigger and bigger. I don't think the ones that haven't been promoted and are still maybe struggling, and it's been years, are any lesser. I think it's just a matter of who chose you, who's promoting you, which gallery is backing you, which curators are backing you. That's the sort of...
So
there is a
series of gatekeepers.
Sort of, groupism and gatekeeping for sure.
So does the relationship and how well you're communicating with the whole community matter for the artists, being engaged in the community, getting to know people, forming good relationships, seeing and communicating their authenticity, and then seeing where and which curator clicks, the authenticity for them?
I think it is. I think this world is all about networking. I think that if you are not able to be social, if you're not able to be a networking person that's going out there, attending all the events, showing your face, making connections and bonds, and, indirectly promoting your work, but also not being over promotional, right? And being very subtle. There's a lot that people have to do to get involved and be allowed into it, which I think is unfair, because I feel like the artist's job and role naturally is just to create. And I know so many artists that struggle to be social, that struggle to be put in the forefront, to be like talking about it. They're like, we don't really know how to do it. We just want to create. We want to be isolated in our studios. All of them thrived in the pandemic because they're like, we don't need to meet humans. At least, the ones that are more reclusive. Kisri is one of those rare artists, and you can see it in his work, that derives a lot of joy from social people, energies, and that's amazing. But that's, again, as I would say, the exception, not the norm.
Right. And, so like in an ideal world, what would you want for the artists, and what do you think would be the really interesting ecosystem for the artists where their product and, their own authentic self is getting promoted? What would be that situation be?
I mean, I just feel like galleries should be more open to accepting and sort of allowing new people to approach them. Because the first thing is approach, right? If you don't even allow the approach, then there's an intimidation surrounding it. And as a gallery, I think it is our job to find new talent and to nurture new talent. Like, let's say someone's not even, that someone approaches you and they're not that evolved in their practice, but it's also the job of a curator or a gallerist to help them to get there, right? Through feedback, through participation. And that is, I think, the correct ecosystem, sort of being like, no, you need to evolve, then come back. Or, no, we won't even open your portfolio if you email it to us. I feel that needs to reduce.
So can you, point out a few action points for people who are wanting to be out there? What all things they can actually do, or are there events, are there biennales, or what is that?
So firstly, definitely make yourself present at the main stuff that's happening in India. There's the India Art Fair in Delhi, which happens every year in February. Be there. Be there as in like attend it and like go around and see the galleries and, make connections like that, right? Approach people. These are very important events where everyone, the who's who of the art world, will be there.
The important
So
events?
India Art Fair, Mumbai Gallery Weekend, which happens in January. So Mumbai, that's very important. There are also other things like there's India Art Festival in Mumbai. There are a lot of these things that happen, right? Which everyone is aware of. There's something called Art Night Thursday that happens every fortnight, where there's like a walkthrough that happens in all the galleries of Mumbai, all the Kulaba, Kalagoda galleries, Worli, Lower Parel, Bandra. So wherever you live, there'll be some gallery there who will be participating in Art Night Thursday.
Right.
Go there, because it's like a collective group walkthrough
Right.
with the artist present, with the curator present. Listen to what they have to say, meet them, just say hello and sort of slowly build a bond.
Right.
And then in terms of approaching galleries, I think systematic portfolios need to be presented. A portfolio includes of course, your work, your practice, your concept behind the practice, your bio, and sort of send it in an email to a gallery, or you can even come and physically give it. But I think that has to be systematically done, not, in like a... Don't WhatsApp and don't call and don't just like send pictures of your works. Be a bit more systematic is the way I feel is the right approach, because a lot of galleries get so many emails. We don't want to sift through. We like people that have an organized portfolio.
Right.
So portfolio definitely should be sent. Yeah, I think these two things are the main. Once you're in and you have a connection with the gallerist will show an interest. I found so many new artists who've just either they've emailed me a portfolio or I've met them in one of these events, and I've liked their work.
I understand, because that's where ये engagements के through अपनी true authenticity communicate कर रहे हैं, and that's what exactly the curators also want.
Yeah.
And if it clicks with them,
Exactly.
that's something good start out. Okay.
And it is, honestly, I also feel like as an artist, do your research, which is the gallery that will work for me, that will work for my art.
Right.
There are smaller galleries that work with small scale artworks. There are galleries that work with a different target audience of young collectors, new collectors.
Right.
There are galleries that are established, that have bigger spaces, that do sort of big scale works with a larger price point. Each gallery has a different, it's like, you have to find the right niche for you. Just sort of being like, anywhere is fine. You are also not being selective. You are not doing your research. Like how a student does research to apply to a university that fits for them, for their degree, for their course. So don't just blindly be like, kuch bhi chalega. Na, you also need to have your research in place and your standards in place. That's honestly what I feel.
Okay, interesting. And when we talk of these approaching out to all these curations, so like these are two major things, being engaged in events and also systematic portfolio submissions. Are there any other areas or say individual events they put? For example, there is this Marine Drive. You put up an art show. You're doing the live performance. Have you seen, good success stories or say viralities in this? Interesting concepts could be there where the artist goes out there in the public.
So you're saying, okay, so
How, I just wanted to explore the dynamics of what other things the artist can do. Just an abstract question.
I mean, of course, if the artist has funding and they're able to do it, I think, you can do stuff which is maybe public art or public performance, or maybe even rent a place, right? There are a lot of places, like there's IFB, which is a new place that's opened up where you can rent that gallery area, not really gallery area, but it's like a beautiful showcase area,
Right.
and you can showcase your art, right? If you want to begin with that. But usually artists don't do that because funding, but also two, they'd rather be approached by a gallery and be curated rather than, sort of putting it out there on their own.
Right, but yeah, that's definitely there, and that's the most ideal case. But I heard of these, some of my friends who were there from the design school. What they did was they used to do collaborative events with cafes.
Yes, of course, I've
So
heard of
that's,
that.
all of these things, their own creative ways, they can actually get out there and somewhere.
No, absolutely. I think there are a lot of cafes, and in fact, there's Mumbai Gallery Weekend where I remember like an art curator friend had just taken a selection of people and put it up in one of these cafes in Kulaba.
Okay.
And so that was also part of Mumbai Gallery Weekend. It wasn't a gallery, it was a cafe.
Show,
It was a pop-up show. And I think these pop-up kind of things and sort of creating spaces which is like public spaces that can become a hub for, conversation and coffee and appreciating art. I think that's a great way to do it. I think that's also something that makes it more easy for people to approach. Because in India, unfortunately, there has still been this mindset that, but how can I enter a big gallery if I'm not making a purchase?
Right.
If I don't have the power to buy something, how can I enter a gallery like this? But that's not true, because we're not saying you can only enter if you're going to buy something. We want it to be a place where you come and enjoy art, you sit. In Europe, abroad, this is very common. People go and enjoy museums and galleries. Here, everyone feels like, nahin, like, can we, can't we? So if it's actually in these cafes with pop-ups, I think I'd be very happy, because at least the mentality will, improve.
Got it. Interesting. So, to end this whole conversation on a really interesting note and actionable note, what could be, you can take a minute for this, by the way, what could be the 3 essential suggestions from you as a creator to budding artists who want to make it out there?
Don't think of the end product. Just think of the journey, which is one of my favorite things about Kisle, because he's always thought about the journey. He's always enjoyed the journey. And, I've seen artists who mid-canvas will be like, no, I'm not happy with this canvas. And it's a beautiful piece of art, but they are not happy with it and they've rejected it. Because it's very authentic. It's like I'm creating because I want to create. I don't care what the end product is. I don't care whether the end product is as per the aesthetic of my audience, as per the aesthetic or the sales value of the gallery. Nothing. It's about their own journey. So number one, be authentic to the journey. Create from a space of complete, just creative expression. Number two, I think that there is a lot of competition. I think that for a lot of people in the art industry, it's the purpose is not, it's somewhere that purpose of for art, I'm doing this for art, for the larger idea of art has gone. And it's very much about my personal success or my gallery's success or my success as a curator. It's become very minimal and very tunnel visioned. I think it has to be very much about the larger landscape of Indian art, of global art, of what art means to a lot of people,
For the love
right?
of it.
For the love of it, because I just think that it's such a joy to be in a creative industry. You have sales targets, but you're not really doing it as like a 9-to-5 job with this, you're allowed this almost like endearing brazenness, which I think I love, and I wouldn't want to be in any other profession. So I think artists also should do that, and the competition should be very minimum. It shouldn't be about a competition, because no two brains can think alike. I don't even think there's anything like original art, to be honest, because it's all sort of inspired. Everything inspires everything, right? And the third point would, honestly, these are my main 2 points. I don't really have a third one, but I'd say
Get out there.
get out there. Yeah. And just put yourself into everything, throw yourself into it, do pop-ups, meet people, go for events. Even if you can't talk, at least listen. Just be there, because you're around art. And I think that's the best place for any artist to be.
That's really good, Sanjana ji. Thank you so much. And even, I feel what you're saying, you're exactly doing this in your art gallery. And
Thank
kind of inauguration also, getting all the people from the student fraternity, artists, businesses, philanthropists. That was a crazy experience as well. So thank you so much for the contribution.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.